Hi FlossTube, it's Cynthia. I'm finally back again with another video, so that is really exciting. I'm sorry that I was away for quite a while. The springtime is a really busy time of year. We've got lots of family birthdays and celebrations and Mother's Day and Easter and all kinds of things. My daughter's birthday is in there, and also it's just a hard time of year for me. I know that other people tend to have a seasonal shift in the winter, and for me it's springtime. For some reason it is so hard for me to transition from winter into spring, and it's partially due to terrible allergies. This year has been horrible for me. Lots of sinus issues, lots of problems. So I've just been sick and tired and depressed and all kinds of things. So every time I thought about sitting down to do a video, I just, my heart was not in it. So anyway, sorry about all that, but I'm back today. So I'm going to take advantage of my rare moment of lucidity, and I'm going to give you a little peek at what I've been focusing on, which is my pretty little mermaid. This is the Easter Lily mermaid pattern from Hannah Lynn, and I apologize, I just took it off the hoop, so of course she's a little wrinkly. But anyway, I think the last time you saw her, in fact I know the last time you saw her, I was on, like, if this line extended all the way across, I had only done a little bit of her flesh and just a real little bit over here. And since you've seen her, I have done all of this. So this is the last bit on this particular page of the pattern. And then I have this final partial page, and then she is done. So I'm super, super excited about that. It's a slow going stitching process, but the colors are gorgeous, and I'm really excited to be so close to a finish. The other thing I was going to mention is that I kind of made a little bit of a, I don't want to say a bet with myself, but I was challenging myself to try parking yet again. And so what I did is I had this whole little piece here of total confetti background, and I'm going to bring her up, if you'll excuse me. I'm going to bring her up and show you just how many colors are actually in just this section, and then the sections behind her hair tendrils. There's just a ton of colors in there. So I parked that, from this page break line all the way down. I did the parking method, and it took me like an entire week to stitch this whole thing in here doing the parking method, but it was very satisfying to to just do each row, and then at the end of the day I would look back and just see a whole filled in spot. And even though the spot was kind of small, it was completely filled in, and the undone section was, just had the hanging threads. And I really liked that sense of accomplishment, because as you can see over here in this, you see all the little speckles here, which are openings, meaning they still have to be stitched. That's typically what I am left with when I do my, my style. It's not really cross country, but it is what it is. And that can be disheartening, because you go back and you like, let's say this stitch has one color and it never appears again. And so I leave it, and then I fill in a bigger section like this little piece of blue. And then I finally go back and stitch in, 3 stitches. I mean, it's just, I don't like doing that. But I also don't like parking. So even though I forced myself to do the parking over here, You know, I don't know. It's hard for me. So I'm kind of doing a combination of parking and filling in bigger areas and just, you know, doing whatever I feel like. So I think that's sort of my takeaway from all of this, is that when it comes to your personal projects and your stitching, whatever you want to do is okay. Because there's no cross-stitch police, as we are all reminded of occasionally. And it's true. Nobody is going to judge you or stop you and say, no, 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 you must do the parking, or you must do cross country, or you must fill in all of one color per page, and then a second color, and then a third color, you know. No. Whatever you want to do, whatever you like and you enjoy, that's what you should do. So that's what I'm doing, and there you go. So the other thing I wanted to do is I have, of course, you know, 100 heaven and earth design patterns waiting to be stitched. And obviously I'm never going to stitch all of them, but I've got the patterns, I've got the charts, and you know, just whenever I feel like starting one, I pick one and go with it. So all this time I have been doing usually 1/1 full cross 25 count fabric. That's the tried and true formula for me when it comes to heaven and earth. And of course, yet again, there are all kinds of options. So I've always wanted to try one on 18 count Aida. So what I did is I just placed a small order. Sorry, there's a piece of fuzz here. I just placed a small order with 123 Stitch, which is a fabulous website, and I highly recommend them for multiple craft items. They're great people, and it's a great way to shop. But anyway, so this is just an 18 by 21, 18 count Aida in Silver Moon. And it's a very, I mean, my goodness, it's so light. It almost just looks like an off-white. But it's very nice quality fabric. And it's beautiful because, oh, actually I did that. I was gonna say, hey, look, it's all serged. No, I stitched that by hand myself because I'm crazy. Yes. But anyway, regardless, I took the time to seal the edges so that it is 100% ready to go for whichever heaven and earth pattern I choose. And obviously I'm going to stitch one of the quick stitches on it, which is a smaller pattern, like that Easter Lily mermaid you just saw. She is considered a quick stitch. But anyway, so I figured with a decent edge I can get like about a 200 by 300 max pattern. So as long as I pick a pattern that the stitch count is a maximum 200 wide by 300 long, then it'll fit perfectly on this. And then the other piece I bought was this just real small 18 by 10 white opalescent 18 count. And this one is so pretty, and I don't know what I was doing over here. Oh, you know what I was doing? I just remembered. I was practicing coverage. So I'm so sorry. There, I'm going to turn on a light so that maybe we're not totally, ooh, can you see that sparkling now? How pretty that is. Anyway, this is gorgeous fabric, and it's so neat because it's just white, but it is anything but boring. It is so pretty. Anyway, so as you can see, I just did some quick little squares, and I was practicing doing the 10th stitch. So this is 2 strands of floss held together, and the 10th stitch, as you know, is just one direction of stitching, kind of like needlepoint. So instead of doing a full cross, it's just one one leg of that, whatever. And you can have it leaning whichever way you prefer. So I tried the tent stitching just to see what the coverage looked like. And of course I used a dark floss on this white fabric so that I would get a very high contrast. And the coverage isn't too bad, you know. I don't know what it's looking like on camera. I guess I'll find out soon. But when I take pictures, I tried to do a tent stitch on a different Heaven and Earth design, and even that I believe was on a smaller count. It was like 22 counts or something. But when I photographed, it looked fine visually with just your eye, but when I took a picture of it, it looked terrible. It looked totally sheer. I could absolutely see the fabric underneath, and it was making me crazy. And like I said, even though it was pretty in person, you know, the pictures of it were awful. And so I scrapped it. I just threw that thing away and started over because I just hated it. So anyway, I won't do the tent stitching this way. This is one strand over, you know, over the fabric, done in full cross. And again, it has kind of spotty coverage, so I can see the fabric through the floss. And I do not like that, especially because the pattern I'm going to be stitching on this piece of fabric has a lot of dark colors. And so it's going to look like a mess. So again, I'm not going to do one strand. So this final square is the 2 strands of floss full cross. And of course, this gives the best coverage. And it's a little thick, but not to the point where it's uncomfortable to stitch. So I was a little disappointed that I couldn't use one strand, because obviously that means I'm going to be using twice as much floss to finish this project. But for the look I want, I know I'm going to use now 2 strands. So that is my long-winded story about that. So anyway, it's just one of those things. It didn't cost me that much. I think, you know, I mean, for sure the opalescent, since it was only 18 by 10, was under $10. So very reasonably priced. And now I have these, and I can find projects that are going to fit them. But I've always wanted to use 18 count, so now I have a chance. All right, so another thing I was going to talk about was, sorry, I have a very small desk and a lot of stuff, so I'll try to edit out some of those rustlings and sounds. Anyway, I came across this bag, this little homemade project bag. It's just a Ziploc bag. But anyway, this was my former project. It was the South Seas Mermaid from Mirabilia, and I had stitched this years ago. It was a relatively newer pattern back when I originally stitched her. And oh gosh, I stitched her on the most stunning piece of hand-dyed fabric from Sugar Maple Fabrics. And I've talked about that company in a previous video. It is unfortunately no longer in business in the United States. But back then, I was able to purchase a piece of the fabric, and I stitched her, and she was so beautiful. It was just by far my favorite Mirabilia I've ever done. So I've always intended to restitch it because I sold that finished piece, and I don't know, I sold it for, you know, $150 or more. I don't recall exactly. So I got, you know, a fair amount of money for it, and I foolishly thought, that's okay, I'll just buy more fabric and restitch it for myself. Well, like I said, the company is no longer in business, so that fabric is gone forever. So that's kind of sad. But anyway, I am still going to stitch her again. And it's kind of nice because I remember it called for a lot of this particular Krynic, that dark green combo here. This is actually an extra spool I had to buy. It already calls for 2 spools, but I ended up needing 3, and that gave me a little left over. So I remember that I'm definitely going to use this when I restitch her, and so I just kept it in this bag. And then I have all the leftover beads that I had purchased, and these large beads here in this beautiful coral color, you do need quite a few on the project, so I will have to repurchase these for sure, but I might have enough of these. I definitely have enough bugles left over, and then there's this gorgeous seafoam colored size 8 bead. I might have enough. So I hung on to all the bits and pieces, and even the bobbinated threads here. So when I go to restitch her, I'm going to already have a fair amount of items. So that's not going to happen soon, but it's in my, oh, here's my fabric package. See, Mermaid's Garden was the name of that beautiful fabric. Sugar maple. Oh, I miss that place. Anyway, I have this handy in my craft stash so that I remember that I want to do this again. So it's funny, I have, I always think that I'm not going to have anything to talk about or enough to share in a floss tube. So I'm kind of like sprinkling things throughout my videos so that I don't just share everything at once and then have nothing else to say. So one of the little things that I was going to show you is a little something that I think is so darn cute. And these adorable little characters came from a leisure arts series of patterns, and I can't think what they're called now, but they're just the cutest girls. And when I first discovered these, my daughter was still pretty young, but now she's a teenager, and I just think these are so cute because it's just these little teenage girls, and here they are shopping, and I love the colors and I love the style. And look, it's got a little doggy in a bag. Oh my God, so cute. But yeah, I just was obsessed with these little things, and I still love them. So there was one that I don't think it's in here. Anyway, there was a different one that I stitched, and I actually matted and framed it, and it was hanging in her room back at our old house. And I haven't seen it yet at the new house. I know it made the move with us, but I'll have to see if she still has it. Anyway, so this is a really cute one with the 2 girls shopping. And here's a really adorable one of just 2 good friends. GMTA, Great Minds Think Alike. I just thought this one was darling, of course. So cute. And lots of back stitching. This one had even some lazy daisies here on her shirt, but I already knew how to make lazy daisies from previous patterns, so it was very easy to do. And then this one, Spoiled Rotten, which I think is so cute, and it applies to my daughter. I'm sure she doesn't think she's spoiled rotten, but she is. So anyway, love these patterns. And I should have, actually, hang on, and I'm going to go see if I can find them. Just a sec. All right, so 20 minutes after clawing through my craft closet, I finally found one of the booklets. But anyway, this little series is called So Girly. And so any of the patterns or kits or anything that came from the Leisure Arts series, it was the So Girly series. And this booklet is called A Girl's World. So you can see there's a little face here of a girl with a headband and stuff, and then here's a little spa girl image. And of course you can adapt these to fit anything you want. So here's doll face, funky fingers, twinkle toes. And you can see she's got a little charm on her anklet. So really, really cute. And this is really cute because my daughter loves painting her nails. She doesn't do all the crazy things I do, of course, but she just paints her nails all the time. So you can see there's this varsity girl, girl talk, which is so cute, boy crazy, which is funny. So obviously I don't want to accidentally show you patterns. And this is talking about how you can paint your Aida fabric. So like this back here is painted first with just a wash of lavender, and then it actually looks like her hair and headband are painted with just black and, you know, stitching and back stitching. So little ideas in here, but super, super cute. Here's some of the other little books that they had. I think Meet the Girls, that's definitely the booklet that I also have, but can't find. I mean, it's in my craft closet, but I just don't know where. So anyway, super cute stuff. I've always loved these girls. And even if my daughter doesn't want them, I'm totally framing them and putting them in my room, because why not? I don't know what my husband will think, but you know, he's very kind when it comes to my crafting obsession. So, what else? Oh, I hope it's in here. Look at this, covered in cat hair. Oh my God. That's what happens when you own 3 Persians. Okay, here is the chatelaine, and I miss my chatelaine. Like I said, the only stitching I've been doing is on that mermaid. So this poor little project has been temporarily neglected. But, oh, I don't think you've seen all of the stitching here in one of the corners. So like I said, I mean, I should have waited to do the beading at the end, but of course I couldn't. So I had done a whole bunch of beading all through the middle. I should really, let me start over. There. For the people who are watching now, and you know what? That's upside down. Anyway, for the people who are watching me on FlossTube for the first time, you have not yet seen my current chatelaine. Now this is my first chatelaine that I am actually stitching. I own multiple patterns, although they're the paper patterns, and I am not going to stitch from just the paper charts. I went and purchased this PDF pattern, and I will, as I, you know, want to start new ones, I will also purchase the PDF files, because it's a lot clearer and a lot easier than just having the paper directions. So anyway, here is my chatelaine. This one is called the Water Garden. It's very pretty. It's actually, I hesitate to use the word easier or smaller, but it is just a little easier than some of the more elaborate ones. And if you know anything about chatelaines, you'll know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna stop there because I could go on for hours about nothing but chatelaine. So we won't do that now. We're just gonna look at how far I've gotten. I did the beading here in the center because, again, I mentioned that I couldn't possibly wait. I did one of the beautiful golden gates over here and backstitched all of that. So this entire gate is completely done. I started working on one of the corner pieces. I'm not sure if these are also supposed to be smaller gates or what they are, but there will be one in each corner diagonally, and then there's one of these at each of these 4 points, kind of the north, east, south, and west. And then I had been leaving, as you can see here, I had been just doing all of the stitching around here, and then this whole area is meant to be beaded, and so I did actually fill in one of my entire corner triangles, and you can see how lovely it is with the bugle beads at the edge, the gorgeous crystals here, the little scattering here in the background of these blue metallic beads, and then the beautiful rose and flower or leaves, the rose and leaves. So it's all done in different colors of delicate beads, and because this is 32 count fabric, some of them were a bit of a tight squeeze, I'm not gonna lie, but it all worked out in the end. And so that's the important thing. And if you're ever stitching and find yourself really squeezing and stuff, you can slightly modify the pattern, because no one is going to know about it but you. And so as long as, you know, like the center of the flower with these gold pieces, I would want that to remain, you know, true to the original pattern. So on my next triangles, I'm going to start in the center, I think. Well, I don't know. I think maybe I will. I'll start in the center to the best of my ability and make sure that the whole flower, all of the pinks and the center gold, all of that is done, because just with that amount, it's going to fit just fine. And then when I start coming in and doing the greenery, I can let, you know, I'll follow the pattern the very best I can, but if things get too crowded, you know, I could leave off a row at the end, or, you know, something like that. So when you're stitching and you find yourself getting really cramped and crowded, you can go ahead and make your own little adjustment to the design. No one's going to know about it, and as long as it still looks like a flower with leaves, you're fine. So that is where I've gotten with that, and like I said, I'm very eager to get back to it as soon as I'm done with my Heaven and Earth pattern. All right, so let's summarize what we've done today. I've showed you my progress on my beautiful mermaid, and I only have this little bit left. So I'm not gonna lie and say that this will be done the next time you see me, but I am going to continue stitching and just do whatever I can each day. You've seen my leftovers from the South Seas Mermaid, and you've heard me promise that I will stitch her again someday, so now it's official. I'm on record. You've also seen my 18 count Ada, and when my Easter Lily Mermaid is done, we can talk together about which patterns I should stitch next, because I'm going to be stitching something on one of these pieces, so we can make that decision together. And then you've seen my finished girls here, which are all, again, so cute. I just love this. They're so darling. And this last one, she looks dingy because she is laying on black. So here she is, a little brighter. I put the book under her. Anyway, she is darling. I love her curly blonde hair. So cute. My daughter is actually blonde as well. So this picture is even more appropriate for her. And of course, there's all kinds of fuzz and hair and God knows what on it. Oh, Lord. But let's not focus on that. Anyway, super cute. So I think that I will go ahead and stop now. And I don't know what's coming on the next video, but I did make a few purchases other than this, and so I can share those either in the next video or spread out over a few videos. So I hope that you enjoyed your time with me today. Again, this is only my 6th FlossTube video, so I'm still kind of, you know, feeling things out and, you know, trying to figure out how I want to structure things. Obviously right now it's just been kind of a free-for-all, but if I didn't do it that way, it just would never get done. So I'm just gonna go with the flow. And another little thing is that I wanted to give a small shout out to a very sweet woman, and it's Christine, and her YouTube channel on FlossTube is Stitch All the Things. And she is really, really fun. She is beautiful. She has amazing hair. Oh my gosh, I love her hair. She is a total sweetheart. She does really beautiful work. She's funny, she's smart, she's all kinds of things. So if you have not watched her, definitely give yourself a treat and sit down, and you can just pick any one of her videos. They're all equally entertaining. So, and I love her wall behind her. She had recently made a switch on her crafting rooms, and I think she calls it her sewing room. I could be mistaken, but she has all of her you know, fat quarters of quilting fabric and stuff behind her on the wall, and it's so pretty. I just love seeing all those little bolts of fabric lined up behind her. It's very colorful, very pretty, and it just makes you want to go in there and start crafting. So anyway, like I said, I really recommend her. I will leave a link down below to her channel so that you can check her out. And I hope that you guys, in the meantime, make some time for yourselves. Be sure to get in some good old-fashioned crafting and stitching and anything that you like to do. Please try to make time to do it. The world moves faster and faster every single day. We all have stresses, we all have obligations and deadlines, but be sure to sprinkle in plenty of fun, plenty of relaxation. Stitching is one of my joys. I've been doing it for over 30 years now, and I look forward to many, many more years of stitching and crafting. All right. I guess until next time, that's going to wrap it up. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all again soon with another video. Bye-bye.